Hello, my dear students of class 11 science. Welcome to my video lesson 5 on the chapter equilibrium. In this video lesson 5, the main topic that I would like to discuss will be the second part of the chapter chemical equilibrium. And the main topic over here today it is ionic equilibrium. So today I'll be discussing about ionic equilibrium in detail in this chapter. Now, under this ionic equilibrium, you'll be learning about Ostwald's dilution law. Then you'll be learning about the Bronsted-Lowry concept of acids and bases. Then ionic product of water, pH value, pH indicators. Then salt hydrolysis, common ion effect, buffer solutions, solubility product, and ionic product in this video lesson 5. Now, so let us begin with the Ostwald's dilution law. Now, if you look at the statement of the law, the degree of dissociation, of a weak electrolyte is directly proportional to the square root of dilution in volume. Now here you look at this formula alpha. Alpha stands for degree of dissociation of the weak electrolyte. K is a constant which is called equilibrium constant. C is the concentration of the weak electrolyte. So alpha is equal to root under K by C. So since the concentration and volume are inversely related to each other, therefore we can also have the same formula in another form where alpha is equal to root under Kv. So I want you all to remember this formula. So based on this formula, the statement for the Ostwald's dilution law has been written down, which states that the degree of dissociation of a weak electrolyte is directly proportional to the square root of dilution volume. It's always for a weak electrolyte. Okay, next. Now coming to the Bronsted-Lowry concept. The Bronsted-Lowry concept, it is also called the protonic concept. It is called the protonic concept. First illustration over here. I have taken hydrochloric acid, water. So at equilibrium, hydrochloric acid dissolves in water to produce hydronium ions and chloride ions. So this hydrochloric acid, it loses proton, It loses proton to give chloride ion, which is the base, conjugate base. So acid, conjugate base. So that is what we called conjugate acid conjugate base pair, Similarly, water, in the presence of hydrochloric acid, water is acting as a base where it is taking up a proton. Water is taking up a proton and it is becoming conjugate acid, which is hydronium ion over here. So remember this. Acids, they lose proton and form a species which is called conjugate base, and base, they add proton, they accept proton, they receive proton and form conjugate acid. In this case, it is hydronium ion. Another illustration, if you look at ammonia solution, which is a base, if you put this in water, it will give this ammonia, it adds proton to give ammonium ion, and that is the conjugate acid carrying positive charge. Whereas water in ammonia base, it is losing proton and it is forming hydroxyl ion, which is the conjugate base over here. So conjugate acid, conjugate base. So this is the Bronsted-Lowry concept, the protonic concept, according to which acids are those chemical species which loses protons to give the conjugate base, and bases are those species which accept protons to give the conjugate acid. I'm not writing this in sentence. I've tried to explain this to you all by this illustration. Next. Now there is another concept over here which is called Lewis concept or electronic concept. Now according to this Lewis concept, an acid is a chemical substance. It's a molecule or an ion which can accept a pair of electrons to form a coordinate bond. So remember that. According to this, it has drawbacks. Lewis concept or the electronic concept has several drawbacks. It's not applicable to all chemical compounds which are either acids or bases. But here, it is important for us to remember the concept, Lewis concept, according to which an acid is a substance, it's a molecule or an ion which can accept a pair of electrons to form a coordinate bond. At the same time, a base is a substance, molecule or an ion which can donate an electron, give away an electron, pair, talking about pair, to form a coordinate bond. One very good example is over here. Boron trifluoride, which is the Lewis acid. Ammonia, which is the Lewis base. Over here, this lone pair of electron on the nitrogen atom of ammonia, it is used to form a coordinate bond. So it is forming a complex. So this one good example is helping us understand the concept which is called the electronic concept with regard to Lewis. Okay. Now further, next, a very important thing in this chapter, the ionic product of water. The ionic product of water, it is represented as capital KW. This W is written as a subscript. Now please follow line by line very carefully. It is not very difficult. It is very easy. Water, we know it is a weak electrolyte. It ionizes to a very small extent and does not ionize much in the pure state. It undergoes self-ionization as given below. If I take one molecule, two molecules of water, it undergoes self-ionization to form hydronium ion and hydroxyl ion. Now, to this equation, which is in equilibrium for water molecule in the liquid state, if you apply the law of mass action, you can write K, equilibrium constant, is equal to product of the concentration of hydronium and hydroxyl ions divided by the product divided by the concentration of water raised to the power of 2. Why 2? Because one molecule over here, another molecule over here. 1 plus 1, 2. So this 2 comes over here. Now, bring this concentration of water raised to the power of 2, the other side. So K multiplied by square of the product of the concentration of water is equal to product of hydronium ion concentration and product of hydroxyl ion concentration. Now, since water undergoes ionization to a very small extent, therefore, here we can talk about the concentration of water may be regarded as a constant. That is, this term over here, this term, it is a constant, and this term K multiplied by concentration of water to the power of 2, it is represented by a symbol KW. Therefore, KW is equal to product of the concentration of hydronium ion and hydroxyl ion. So in short, if the question is asked, what is ionic product of water? You can define it in your own language, in your own words. Ionic product of water is defined as the product of the concentration of hydronium ion and the concentration of hydroxyl ions respectively. This constant Kw is known as ionic product of water. Its value is equal to 1.008 into 10 power minus 14 mole square liter to the power of minus 2 at 25 degrees Celsius to 98 Kelvin. Now, as the concentration of hydronium ion and hydroxyl ions are equal, if they are equal, neutral. So this can be equal to root under 1.008 into 10 power minus 14. That comes to 1 into 10 power minus 7 moles per liter. Moreover, the ionization of pure water increases with an increase in temperature. Very important point. So keep in mind, pure water, the ionization of pure water is affected by temperature. With an increase in temperature, the ionization also increases. Therefore, the value of over here ionic product increases with increase in temperature. The value of Kw ionic product does not affect the relative concentration of hydronium ion or the hydroxyl ions. So that was all about ionic product in very short and brief. So the concept should be there in your mind as and with regard to Kw or ionic product. Moving to the next thing over here, pH value, potential of hydrogen ion concentration. pH is, as for the definitions in whatever you have learned from class 10, pH is equal to negative logarithm to the base 10 of hydrogen ion concentration, and pH plus pOH, potential of hydroxyl ion, the value is 14 at this temperature 25 degrees Celsius or 298 Kelvin. Remember that, okay? Then moving to the next slide, coming to salt hydrolysis. Now salt hydrolysis, what is salt hydrolysis? It is the interaction of ions of a salt with oppositely charged ions of water. Water has opposite charged ions. One is what? Hydrogen ion, another one is hydroxyl ion. So whenever the ions of the salt interact with the hydrogen and the hydroxyl ions, it gives back the acid and the base. So it is supposed to be a reverse of neutralization, and this is called salt hydrolysis. Now, depending upon the nature of an acid or a base, there can be 4 types of salts, which is more important. So let us see these 4 types of salts one by one. First one over here. Salts of strong acids and strong bases. Such salts like sodium chloride, strong acid, strong base, strong acid, strong base, strong acid, strong base, strong acid, strong base. So these are salts of strong acid, strong bases. Do not undergo hydrolysis, and the resulting solution is neutral as it involves only ionization, but there is no hydrolysis. It will not give back. It will not give back this the requirements for hydrolysis. It doesn't give salt and water. Okay, so that's why over here for strong acids and strong bases salts, if you put these salts in water, they will not give hydrolysis. There is no hydrolysis, but there is only ionization happening. So there is no question of pH regarding to this type of salts. The next type of salt is number 2, salts of weak acids and strong bases. Examples: weak acid, acetic acid, strong base, sodium. Weak acid, carbonic acid, strong base, potassium. Weak acid, phosphate, strong base is sodium. So these are sodium acetate, potassium carbonate, sodium phosphate. These are salts of weak acid and strong bases. So these salts, when they are dissolved in water, they give a basic solution as strong base is formed after hydrolysis, also known as anionic hydrolysis. So remember, now KH, which is called hydrolysis constant, in this case where salts of weak acids and strong bases are dissolved in water, so KH, the hydrolysis constant, is obtained by dividing the ionic product by the dissociation constant of the acid. So Ka is called dissociation constant of the acid and Kw is called the ionic product of water. Please learn this formula. KH, the hydrolysis constant of salt of weak acid and strong bases. This first formula you have to learn. Okay. Then under the same heading, degree of hydrolysis. Degree of hydrolysis when it is a salt of a weak acid strong base. H is equal to root under KH by C, or we can write H is equal to Kw by Ka. Kw is ionic product, Ka is dissociation constant of the acid into C. C stands for the concentration of the salt in solution. Okay, that is given over here. Finally, for numericals, you will have to apply this formula to calculate the pH, provided the ionic product is given, the dissociation constant of the acid is given, and the concentration of the salt in the solution is given. It is easy to find the potential of hydrogen ion concentration. And please keep in mind, pKw at 25 degrees Celsius, the value is 14. So you can directly put the value over here, 14. So minus half into 14 plus pKa plus log to the base 10 C concentration. So using this formula we can find the pH of a salt of a solution which contains a weak acid and a strong base. Okay. Further, next type, number third type, salts of strong acids and weak bases. Now the acid is strong, the salt is containing a strong acid and a weak base. Examples, we have ammonium chloride, chlorine strong acid, ammonium weak base, sulfate strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, and so on. Okay, so these are examples of salts which contain strong acids and weak bases in them. Okay, so the solution of such salts are acidic in nature and also known as cationic hydrolysis. The previous one was anionic hydrolysis. Here it is called known as cationic hydrolysis. Why cationic? The cation is the weak part over here. The cation is the weak part. Okay. So for these salts of strong acids and weak bases, the hydrolysis constant KH is equal to Kw by Kb, ionic product divided by dissociation constant of the base. So this is how to calculate the hydrolysis constant of the salt of strong acid and weak base. Moving to the other formula over here under this heading, degree of hydrolysis H equal to root under Ka by C, or H is equal to Kw by Kb. This is KH. Okay, this is KH by C, or H equal to Kw by Kb dot C over here, root under. And similarly, the pH for such salts of over here strong acid weak bases can be calculated by this formula, pH equal to minus half pKw minus pKb minus log to the base 10 C, and we know pKw at 25 degrees Celsius its value is 14. So put the value over there and get the answer. Okay, now the next type of salts under salt hydrolysis is salt of weak acid and weak base, where the salts contain weak acid, also a weak base is there. So examples are ammonium acetate, ammonium carbonate, aluminum phosphate, etc. So these are some examples of salts containing weak acid and weak bases. Okay, now these salts involve both anionic as well as cationic hydrolysis. Okay, the resulting solution will be either acidic, basic, or neutral depending upon the degree of ionization of the weak acid and the weak base produced. In these cases, the resulting solution is almost neutral. So in such a situation, the resulting solution, like the first one over here, number 1, it is almost neutral. We can talk about neutrality over here. Now to calculate the hydrolysis constant of salts containing weak acid and weak bases, KH is equal to Kw by KaKb. KH is equal to Kw by KaKb. And the degree of hydrolysis H is obtained by root under KH, and KH is we know Kw by KaKb. Just put the values, and to get the pH of such salts containing weak acid and weak bases, half into pKw plus pKa minus pKb. And remember, at 25 degrees Celsius the value of pKw is 14. Okay, which varies with temperature, of course. Now these are the three sets of formula which you have to remember for use in the numericals based in this chapter. Now the other very very important concept to be understood in this chapter, it is called common ion effect. Common ion. Now the suppression of the degree of ionization, how far the ionization is suppressed for a weak electrolyte by the addition of a strong electrolyte having an ion common with the weak electrolyte. It is known as common ion effect. I'll explain this very nicely. Have a look. I repeat the definition once more. If the question is asked what is common ion effect, you have to write it this way: the suppression of the degree of ionization of the weak electrolyte by the addition of a strong electrolyte containing an ion which is common with the weak electrolyte. That is known as common ion effect. Example: the degree of dissociation of ammonium hydroxide is suppressed by addition of a salt which is ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride, if it is added, it contains a common ion, that is ammonium. Okay, that produces common ammonium ion. Okay, this common ammonium ion, if you look at the next slide over here, ammonium chloride is added, it produces ammonium ion and chloride ion. Now this produced ammonium ion, it reacts with the hydroxyl ion and causes the reaction to go in the backward direction. So the dissociation of this ammonium hydroxide is suppressed in this manner. So this effect is called common ion effect. Now, applying the law of mass action, the dissociation constant of the base, that is ammonium hydroxide, is same thing. It is obtained by writing product of the concentration of the ammonium ion and hydroxyl ion divided by concentration of ammonium hydroxide. Here, as the concentration of ammonium ion in solution is more, in order to keep the value of Kb constant, the ammonium ions combine with the hydroxyl ions, or the equilibrium shifts towards the left. Left means in this direction. In this way, ammonium hydroxide increases or its dissociation decreases. So this is called common ion effect. Okay, watch this several times, go back and watch it again and again, you will understand. It is not very difficult at all. Then the next concept which you must understand over here is buffer solutions. Buffer state, like Bhutan, it is a buffer state in India and China. Okay, like that only, buffer. So a buffer solution is a system which maintains its pH on the addition of a small amount of acid or alkali or water. So if there is a buffer solution, if we add acid, it maintains its pH, okay, by moving in either of the direction, forward direction or the backward direction. Okay, pH is maintained. So the pH does not get disturbed if you add an acid or an alkali to it. Now here let me explain you in detail over here. There are basically two types of buffer solutions. The first one is called acid buffer and the second one is called basic buffer. Now what is an acid buffer? Acid buffer, it is a mixture of weak acid and its salt with a strong base. So I repeat once more, acid buffer, weak acid, a mixture of weak acid and its salt containing a strong base. Now basic buffer, it is a mixture of weak acid, a weak base, sorry, and its salt with a strong acid. Let us do this in much more detail over here, one by one. Let's take an example of acid buffer. Acid buffer, a very good example is a mixture containing 1 mole of acetic acid and 1 mole of sodium acetate. This acetic acid is a weak acid and sodium acetate, it is a salt of acetic acid containing a strong base. The strong base is this one, okay, over here. Now acetic acid and sodium acetate, it forms an acidic buffer. It forms a buffer solution and the buffer is called acidic buffer. Any addition of acid or alkali or water to it, the pH of such solution is resisted. It does not change. The pH value does not change. Let us see how. Okay. Now, action of acidic buffer. Taking the same example, acetic acid and sodium acetate as the example of acidic buffer. Number one, the first case. Suppose to this acetic acid and sodium acetate mixture buffer, okay, if equimolar amounts of those are taken, if you add few drops of acid, most of H plus ions from acid combine with acetate ions from this buffer to form weakly ionized acetic acid molecules. Okay, it goes in the backward direction and the pH values remains constant. So there is no change in the pH. So what is happening? When you are adding an acid, acid provides what? Hydrogen ions. So these hydrogen ions which are provided by the acid to the buffer, it reacts with the acetate ions in the buffer, from the buffer, and it gives back weakly ionized what? Acetic acid molecules, which will not affect the pH value of the resultant or solution, which is called the buffer solution. So this is happening from buffer. This S plus from the acid which we have added, so it is producing weakly ionized acetic acid molecules. So there is no change in the pH. The second point over here, suppose now instead of adding the acid, now we add few drops of sodium hydroxide to the above buffer of acetic acid and sodium acetate. The hydroxyl ions from NaOH, definitely this sodium hydroxide is going to give hydroxyl ions. They are neutralized by the H plus ions furnished by the buffer to form weakly ionized water molecules. Okay, hence negligible change in pH value takes. That means almost no change. the pH value remains maintained over here. So this resistance, it is called buffer action. So here the H plus ions from the buffer, they react with the hydroxyl ions from the base which we have added to give weakly ionized water molecules, so the pH does not get affected. The third point over here, suppose buffer solution is diluted with water. We add water. We know water is neutral, containing equal hydrogen and hydroxyl ions. So as it is a weak electrolyte, it will not affect the pH value of the buffer. So these are the three cases in this example where we have taken the buffer, which is called an acidic buffer containing acetic acid and sodium acetate. Now moving to the next type over here, next type of buffer solution, basic buffer. Example, a very good example over here of basic buffer is a mixture of 1 mole of ammonium hydroxide and 1 mole of ammonium chloride. Ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. It is a weak base. Ammonium hydroxide is a weak base. So, and this ammonium chloride, it is a salt of the base. This base only containing a strong acid. So, mixture of this equimolar amounts of ammonium hydroxide and ammonium chloride, it forms a basic buffer. To this basic buffer, if we add acid or a base or water, the pH value does not get affected. Let us see the action of basic buffer in the next slide. Number 1, case 1. Suppose a few drops of HCl are added to the buffer. Here H plus ions from acid combine with hydroxyl ions of ammonium hydroxide from buffer to form feebly ionized water. So from the acid we are adding acid, no? So acid is giving H plus. So this combines with the hydroxyl ions from the buffer. This buffer is made by mixing ammonium hydroxide and ammonium chloride. So this hydroxyl is over here. Okay. So what is happening? The hydrogen ions from the acid, they are reacting with the hydroxyl ions from the buffer and producing feebly ionized water molecules. So resulting in no change in the pH. If there is change also, that is negligible, very, very small. Then the second case over here, to the same basic buffer of which is made by ammonium hydroxide and ammonium chloride, if we add a few drops of sodium hydroxide to the buffer, the hydroxyl ions from sodium hydroxide combine with the ammonium ions of buffer to form weakly ionized ammonium hydroxide molecules, resulting in no change in its pH value. So here hydroxyl ions from the base which we have added, okay, and ammonium ions from the buffer, they react with each other to give weakly ionized ammonium hydroxide molecules, okay, resulting in no change in its pH value. Case 3. Suppose the buffer is diluted with water. As water is a weak electrolyte, it will not affect the pH value of the buffer. So this was all about buffer action, okay. Now pH of buffer solutions. Calculations based on pH of buffer solutions. This can be done by using a very famous equation. It was devised by Henderson and Hasselbalch, named after him. It is called Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, named after these two people. For acidic buffer solutions, remember pH can be obtained by pKa. Acidic, no? So pKa plus log to the base 10 salt by acid, concentration of salt divided by concentration of acid, where this pKa is equal to negative log to the base 10 Ka. Ka is called ionized concentration of the acid. And finally, this formula can be written in a much better form over here. The salt or the conjugate base. So pH is equal to pKa plus log to the base 10. Concentration of the conjugate base divided by concentration of the acid. So remember this formula to calculate the pH of an acidic buffer solution. Okay. Moving to the next slide. For basic buffer solutions, to calculate the pOH. For bases, you have to calculate pH and then you can get the pH easily by subtracting from 40. Okay. So pH is equal to pKb plus log to the base 10 concentration of salt divided by concentration of the base, or pH is equal to 14 minus pKb minus log to the base 10 concentration of salt divided by concentration of base, where we know this pKb is equal to minus log to the base 10 Kb, and Kb is called dissociation constant of the base, and this formula written in a better form over here. pH is equal to 14 minus pKb minus log to the base 10 concentration of the conjugate acid divided by concentration of the base over here. So these are the two important formula to calculate the pH and pOH of acidic buffer and basic buffer. Okay. Now there is one important term over here, buffer capacity. buffer capacity or buffer index. Okay, the symbol is here. It is, remember this also, definition as well as a formula. Buffer capacity or buffer index is defined as the ratio of the number of moles added to 1 liter of the buffer divided by whatever is the change in its pH. So learn this also. I repeat once more. Buffer capacity, it is defined as the ratio of the number of moles of whatever you are adding, acid or the base, to 1 liter of the buffer divided by change in its pH. So that is how we get the capacity of the buffer. How much it can hold the addition of an acid or a base to resist the pH. That is called buffer capacity. Anything has a capacity. A time will come when that capacity is broken, and then the resistance is also overcome, and then gradually the pH might change after that. So it is very important to remember that there is something called capacity under this heading. Okay. Now, moving to the next topic under this chapter, solubility product represented by capital K, SP. SP is written in at the bottom over here, okay, as a subscript. Now, solid product, it is the product of the molar concentrations of ions formed in the saturated solution at a given temperature, raised to the power equal to the number times each ion occurs in the balanced chemical equation. This is the definition. It is the product of the molar concentration of the ions which are formed in the saturated solution at a given temperature, raised to the power to the number times each ion occurs in the balanced chemical equation. Now this Ksp has a constant value for an electrolyte when the temperature is constant. Okay, so that is the definition and its importance and its variation at a given temperature. So remember, this Ksp value, solid product, has a constant value for an electrolyte at a constant temperature. Now looking at the example over here, for example, a saturated solution of sparingly soluble salt like silver chloride maintains its equilibrium with its ions as given below. If I take silver chloride saturated solution, at equilibrium it produces silver ions and chloride ions. So to this equation, if we apply the law of mass action, K is equal to product of the concentration of silver and chloride ion divided by concentration of silver chloride saturated. So rearranging, K into concentration of AgCl gives Ag plus and Cl minus concentration product. As concentration of a solid is always constant, so this K into AgCl, this is a constant over here, this one is a constant. So this K into concentration of AgCl solid, it is called Ksp. So this is solid product and that is equal to product of the concentration of the ions which are formed after its dissociation at equilibrium. Okay. Now there is another term which is called ionic product, IP, not ionization potential, it is IP. Okay. Now IP, ionization product, ionic product, it is the product of the concentration of the ions of the electrolyte raised to the power of the coefficients, stoichiometric coefficients in the balanced chemical equation in a solution at any concentration. The ionic product values vary with change in concentration. Remember that. So if you take an equation, the similar equation, the same equation over here, AgClS giving at equilibrium Ag plus and Cl minus. Okay. In this case, we get Ag plus and Cl minus, their product is equal to Ksp. Now this much only, it is called ionic product. This expression is called ionic product. Okay. Remember that. Okay. But Ksp is the product of the dissociation constant and the concentration of the weak electrolyte, sparingly soluble electrolyte in the solid state. Okay. Now there is a difference table between solid product Ksp and ionic product which has to be remembered and learned properly. Difference over here, solid product is in the first column, ionic product is in the second column. So note it down and learn it by heart. Solid product is applicable only to saturated solutions, whereas ionic product is applicable to all types of solutions, whether it is saturated, unsaturated, whatever. Okay. Number 2, the solid product of a salt is constant at a constant temperature It is constant at a constant temperature. But the ionic product of a salt depends upon the concentration of ion in a solution independent of temperature. Okay, so this is the two differences which you must keep in mind always under solid product and ionic product. Now, a very important criteria for the precipitation of an electrolyte whose knowledge we can use in the qualitative analysis during the identification of cations by using the group analysis chart in your practical chemistry. Okay, if ionic product is greater than solvent product, the solution is supersaturated. Learn this, and precipitation takes place immediately. Otherwise, if ionic product is less than solid product, the solution is unsaturated and more of the solute can be dissolved in it. So there is no precipitation. Okay. Number 3, if ionic product is equal to solid product, the solution is just saturated, just it has reached saturation, and at saturation point no precipitation occurs or takes place. So these 3 points are very, very important. Please put them in your mind permanently. Then coming to the next slide over here, a very, very important relationship, a relationship between solubility and solubility product. Suppose we take the solubility of a sparingly soluble salt, say AXBY, if it is S, capital S. Let the solubility of this salt, sparingly soluble salt, be S moles per liter. And write the equation AXBY, reversible sign, X stoichiometric coefficient A raised to the power of Y plus Y B to the power of X minus at equilibrium. So let it be S mole initially. This will be X S moles, Y S moles. So the formula to get the solid product in terms of solubility, this is the formula. Learn this formula. KSP is X. This X is over here raised to the same thing, X only, into this Y raised to the power of Y only, into solubility to the power of X plus Y. This is the formula which you will have to remember for every sparingly soluble salt whose relationship between solid product and solubility is demanded in your examination. So one example I am trying to give you over here you have to understand. Silver chromate, Ag2CrO4, at equilibrium it produces 2 silver ions and CrO4 minus 2 ion. Keeping the formula in mind, Ksp is X to the power of X, Y to the power of Y into S to the power of this X plus this Y. So here in this equation over here, which is at equilibrium, the value of X is 2, value of Y is 1. So Ksp is 2 to the power of 2 into 1 to the power of 1 dot S to the power of 2 plus 1, that is 3. So the solid product is equal to 4S cube. 4S cube. Okay, that is how you get the solid product. Okay. Now, my dear students, I have tried to explain this chapter very briefly and up to the point, not going here and there in detail. And I expect you all to just go through the solved question answers, the multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks from the back of the chapter from your textbook, ISC textbook, class 11 textbook. The author is H.C. Srivastava. Okay, so I would like to end my chapter here only. Thank you. Have a nice day.